Welcome back to my channel, Wise Words from a Grown Man. If you understand, you understand. If you don't, then man, deuces two times. Welcome, guys. I thank you guys for tuning in today. I'm gonna have a special guest today. Her name is Amy. We're going to be talking about a condition that she has that a lot of people are familiar with, and a lot of people don't like to talk about it. But she's on the time straight, so we're going to jump right into these questions. And the first question I have for her is, what's been the most significant impact of cancer on your daily routine?
So cancer is definitely like limiting, especially, like when you're first in treatment, it's all about, you know, all your treatments, you're going through chemo, most people have some type of surgery, might be doing radiations, you have a lot of doctor's appointments, and it just, disrupts your life. Chemo makes you not feel good a lot of times. So, your whole routine is just disrupted. So you just have to, during those times, like find your new normal and find, what works for you. But it definitely has an impact, and it has an impact on, everyone in your life, your family as well. So,
And you segued into my next question, which is, how has this monster of an event affected you, your family, and your friends?
I mean, it's definitely, especially when you first get the diagnosis, you're just like, I was so overwhelmed. Like I didn't know a lot about cancer. I had known a few people with cancer, but I wasn't very familiar. I didn't know what to expect. Um, and it definitely affects every person in your life. Um,
Mm,
like your friends and family want to be there for you. They want to help you. Sometimes they don't know how. Um, and again, it's just like your whole life is just turned upside down in that first, um, you know, period of time where you're finding out that you have cancer and what your next steps are. And it's very, emotional because you don't know and your family doesn't know, how the road is going to play out for you as well. So it's, um, it's very hard on them too. So,
and with you saying that, I wanted to go back a little bit when we were talking about this is before. What were like some symptoms or some doctor's appointments that even got you to even know that you have it?
So I have a very rare type of cancer. So I have what's called inflammatory breast cancer.
Hmm.
So where this type of cancer, they don't detect it until you're at least stage 3.
Oh
And
my
you
goodness.
don't necessarily always have a lump in your breast. Like, a lot of people find out through mammograms or diagnostic, their yearly testing. So I was 40. So I was due that year for my first mammogram, but I hadn't scheduled it yet. And my left breast got really hard and like swollen. And I was like, what is going on? And then
Mm.
so I thought maybe I had some type of infection. So I went to the doctor and they were like, we're going to do, so they did like a mammogram and an ultrasound. And then they said, well, we're just going to give you these antibiotics. We think you might have some type of infection. So I went through a couple of courses of antibiotics, and nothing changed. And so they sent me back, and then I did a another ultrasound, and then they did a biopsy, and then that's when they found it when I had the biopsy.
Wow. So, what what we're talking about feelings now. What are some of your emotional challenges that you face I know your friends and family, like you said, they want to help. They don't know, it's the unknown and stuff. But as you being a person yourself, you know your inside and out. How was your emotions?
I mean, it was very, I think you go through like a whole, like first it's shock. Like for
Hmm.
me, it's shock. Like I remember she called me and told me, and I was like, I hung up the phone and I was like, oh, that can't be right.
You
No
hung up
way.
on her?
No, like, no, I didn't hang up on her.
Oh,
Like, we
okay.
finished our conversation because she said,
Oh, okay.
like, she called me and it was like, I don't know, 6 o'clock at night. And so I knew,
Mm,
after hours, I'm like, oh, this can't be good, So she's like, well, do you want to come in my office and discuss, or do you just want me to talk to you on the phone? And I was like, you can just tell me because I figured, it was something if she was calling that after hours.
yeah.
And so she told me, and so, we had the conversation and I hung up the phone. And I probably remember, like, the only thing I really remember her saying is, you have cancer. Like, I don't remember anything she said after that, really. Like, it's just like a bunch of jumble.
Right, right, right.
I sat there and I was like, that can't be right. Like, she's got to be wrong. Like, and then, so I was like, just in shock for the first, like couple of days. Um, and it was very hard for me to, like, tell my husband, um,
Mm.
that first night, like he was sitting on the couch and I'm like, now I have to go out here and tell him, and like, and
Wow,
so,
wow.
yeah, I mean, it was definitely like very, very emotional. And then, and then like, you don't know, like me, I'm a planner. So
Hmm.
like, need to
Me
have,
too.
yeah, like I need things to be planned out. Like I need her to say like, you're going to do this, this, and this. And then if I have a plan, I feel better.
Right,
Um,
right, right.
so like definitely in those first like couple of days, it was just very like lots of tears,
Hmm.
um, lots of emotion, and like I'm not a crier, so for me to cry, it was like
It's hard. It's heavy. It's heavy.
yeah, yeah, and just and at that point, you don't know much, like if you had any scans to see, like what stage you're at or how they're going to treat your cancer or anything like that, so it's very scary. So like a lot of fear in the beginning, um and then I think so they referred me to the James. So then the James was really good because they had appointments made for me like 3 days later, so I had like this whole series of appointments I went to where I saw different doctors, I saw a surgeon, I did another biopsy, I had scans, I did all the things. And then they made a plan for me like, okay, you're going to do this chemo. And I think I started chemo like maybe like 10 days after I went to the James. So it was pretty quick. So once
Hmm.
I got started and had a plan, I felt a lot better emotionally, but it's still like always a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Like, when those emotions are going to hit you. Um, so, sometimes you think you're fine with it, and then like someone makes a comment or you see something and you just, fall apart. So,
Life be life, and then you're drawn into that lifing. But when you said, I'm like you, I'm a planner, I live by it. That's people don't understand it. That's not planners. So that planning means I can control what
yeah,
I got going on.
yeah,
So when that's taken from you, it's even scarier because, like I said, in the moment of you being a planner, there's no plan.
right.
It's it's just it's a wing it, and I'm not a wing it person.
Right. Me
So
either.
And give shots out to the James. If a lot of people don't know what the James is, because I go there a lot because I'm a medical trainer. So I go there a lot. And my family was in there as well. They're a great company. You know, they are very, very they know what they're doing. I'll just put it that way.
Yes, for sure. Like I have total faith in my team at the James. Like I love all the nurses, and I've been going there. So I got diagnosed in 2019.
Hmm.
Pretty much been
Wow.
since 2019, January of 2019. So like I know all the nurses, and like they're just great people. They really are. Like I'm so thankful for them.
That's well, you the next question is sort of like what we just got done talking about, the planning. What has cancer made, or your priorities? What the cancer? How has it affected your priorities?
So it definitely puts things into perspective. Um,
Hmm.
as far as what is important in your life, what is not. And like I used to work all the time, and I stopped working like once I became stage 4, like a little shortly after that. But like uh, I feel like you spend all this time, like working and doing all these things and saving your money for retirement, and then I realized like I'm probably not going to make it to retirement. Like I need to, like spend all the time with my family and my friends, um, and my people, just, enjoying life now,
Yes.
just those little things that I used to get like so upset about, like, oh, this is a mess or this is this. And I'm just like,
Carefree.
this is all like in 10 minutes or in an hour, is this going to matter? No.
Yeah,
You know? So I think it definitely changes
man.
your perspective and priorities on things as well.
Well, okay. What has been your biggest hope in this journey? Because you have to have some kind of faith and hope in
I mean,
things.
you have to have hope and faith to get through this for sure. I mean, I guess my ultimate hope would be that there would be a cure.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, but realistically, like that's not going to happen probably in my life, and that's okay. But even if I can, like, my story can help one other person, or someone will see and they'll go get their mammogram or go get checked and find it early, and like if I can help one person, then I feel like it's worth it. Like if someone can relate to my story, then
I
and I
commend you
try.
on that. I, I commend you on that. Sorry for cutting you off, but I commend you on that. And it's bothering me because I literally know you. So I just wanted to impart this. I've never had to deal with anyone in my life except two people I've dealt with, but it wasn't on a day to day facet of them having with one was my grandmother and one was my uncle.
Mhm.
Both of them died of different types of cancer, but it seemed to be it's come so rampant and it's come in children, regular like teenagers, adults, and elderly. So it hits everybody now. So
Yeah, it doesn't
I heard you.
discriminate.
Go ahead. I didn't
It
hear
doesn't.
that part.
I just said it doesn't
Okay.
discriminate. Yeah.
Okay. Um, my next question is a harsh one, but it's a reality.
Hmm.
How do you deal with the mortality side of it?
I mean, I think you just, like, you go through the stages of it again. And like I said, it's been 6 years for me. So I've had lots of time to think and process and, prepare myself.
Hmm.
Um, and, I mean, honestly, we're all going to pass sometime, so I just know mine's probably a little sooner than others. So I think you just have to, like, make your peace. And, if you are a religious person, lean on your faith. Um, and, whatever you can do to just, deal with it. But I mean, I think for me, like, I've just had all this time to prepare. So I don't know that you're ever like,
Prepared.
but, like, so.
Okay, I commend you on that, being strong in that, because I know just me saying those words how I felt. Um, but with your strength, um, how do you tell someone else who has been just diagnosed or they're in their first stages of dealing with it? What advice could you give them to help them along their way?
So honestly, for people that are first diagnosed, like, I don't think it's really appropriate to bring up the whole like mortality thing just
Hmm.
because, there are a lot of people that are diagnosed stage 1 and 2 and 3, that will be go through their treatment and maybe never have to deal with it again. It may not come back, they may be cured. And so I think you first have to look at that. You first have to look at, like, okay, let's get you through this portion of it.
Hmm.
And best advice is, like, um, you got to have a support team. Like, you have to have those people that you can lean on. And, and especially like when you first get diagnosed, they give you tons and tons of information about your disease and your upcoming treatments. And, now I understand all of it. But at first I was like, oh, what is this? And,
What is
you know,
what is
yeah, and you hear like about 10% of what they say. So,
mm,
I think that it's important to have someone with you to take notes, um, and to kind of help you so you can go over it and be like, oh, well, what did they say about that? Or, maybe they would have questions. Like, my husband always has different questions for the doctor than I have. Like,
yeah,
I don't think of, or I'll think of something he doesn't think of. So, it's just, and it's so important to have those people for you to be able to lean on and to help you through it.
definitely.
So
So
it's getting
um
people.
okay. So with that, what are some of your like emotional and physical um restraints?
Um, so now, like, that my cancer has progressed, I do have some physical limitations. Like, I have lymphedema in my arm and my shoulder, like my range of motion, so I can't really use my right arm very well. And I have some pain, but I will say, like, I'm very lucky that I'm not in constant pain like some people are. Um, but I will say, like, when those things happen, like, and I know this is like so dumb, but like, I can hardly open like jars and like bottles anymore, and I have to ask, and it makes me so angry because when you're used
Mm,
so like independent and then you can't do something, it's
yeah,
it's very frustrating. So I try to keep like that in check and just, like, realize that I can't do everything anymore, but I'm thankful for what I can do. And I'm thankful that I'm still able to get out and enjoy life, almost every day.
So, with that being said, that last part that not to negate what you said before, but that last part that you said, does your mind say, okay, this is what it is. This is how I'm going to live from now on. I'm going to do things that I never thought I would do or never wanted to do, or I'm just going to live life to the ceiling. I mean, to the sky.
I mean, I think that's kind of like, just like I definitely like try to, do things that like I've never experienced, or, I try to like get out of my comfort zone and do things that, yeah, like you said, like I don't put limits on myself. I know
Hmm.
there are things that I cannot do, but like I can at least try.
Right, right, right,
So I don't say, well, oh, I'm not going to do that because I got cancer, or like, yeah, I just try to like live life to the fullest, and just try to do those things that like I feel are important, or like, or would be fun, or make great memories with my family or my friends. Like I just recently was able to get ordained, and
Mm,
my friends, and that was like such a great experience.
you know what? With Okay, that is great. I really like that part. Another thing, like this is, I'm trying to formulate the question. Like, I know me and how I am, and with your situation at hand, do you get sometimes mad if someone is like, once they know your diagnosis and they know your friends and family and people you come in contact, do you ever get tired of people, oh, I'm so, I'll do it
Yeah,
for you, or you know what I mean?
yeah, like definitely, like my friends and my family, like they know that I'm like that, so they'll let me try, and then they wait for me to ask for help because they know if they try to help me, I might snap at them. But I never want to be that person that people say like, "Oh, look at that poor lady with cancer." Like I never want anyone to look at me with that pity look, because that just drives me crazy. Like, don't have pity for me. Like I'm out here living my life, like
Right.
did I get dealt a not so great hand? Maybe, but I feel like there's a bigger plan. Like there's got to be a bigger plan that I just don't understand for this right now?
Right. And I mean, a lot of people, anyone that knows me, they know my message and what I stand for. So I always have to impart God in anything that I do. So one thing I'll say is, to be absent from this world is to be present with God. Not to say that that's we trying to hurry up and get there, but also in your mess is a lesson that's being learned, and a lesson that can be taught to other people. So I don't think anything happens that's not supposed to happen. And it's hard for people to digest that sometimes, but um that's how the master works. And it could happen to a better person, if you get what I'm saying, because of your heart. And from what I've known of you always, you might say something that sparks something in someone that they can't hear from someone else
Yeah.
through your situation. And it might not even be talking about cancer. It just might be talking about life in general. And you're speaking, and they say, okay, I'm going to give her enough respect, maybe because of that, to sit down and listen to her. So that opens up a platform and a door for you. So I'll jump to this last question because I know you said you're on a time crunch and you got to take care of some business. But this is a an overall synopsis um, of the cancer situation. How has it affected you in a financial way, if so?
So it definitely is very, very draining financially. Um, Especially like in the first, like in your first year, because typically, um, when you are diagnosed, like I remember my doctor saying, this will be your cancer year. So, all of your treatments and all of that. And so you're not necessarily prepared, you
Right,
know,
right.
for that to come up. So it's definitely very expensive.
Hmm.
And are treatments that you like I worked through a lot of my treatment. But like when I did radiation, I had to go every day for 6 weeks. So there just wasn't enough time to go to Columbus and to work all day. So, you're off work. Um, so, and my employer was great. Like they were awesome. Um, and I had some short-term disability in that, but it definitely, and then now that I'm stage 4, and I will be in treatment for the rest of my life. So I'll be on some type of chemo or something. Um, I just, I'm on disability, so it's just too overwhelming for me to work. So that takes, a lot away from the household income. So I think you definitely have to make adjustments. And again,
Hmm.
it goes back to that planning thing. So now I know, like every year, okay, I'm going to pay this big chunk out of pocket, and then so I can plan for that.
Yes.
And my insurance, I'm lucky. My husband works and he has really good insurance. Um, so that is very helpful too, because that limits some of what we're paying out. But it's just even just little things you have to buy, like Tylenol and bandages, and different things like that. Like that adds up for people.
Yeah.
And I'm just thankful that we're in a position where we're able to handle it, because I think that some people, because it is very expensive, and some
Hmm.
will not be able to. So I'm just thankful that we can do that. But and there are a lot of resources out there too for people. Like there's Pink Ribbon Girls. Or I think they changed their name. It's Pink Ribbon Good now. They're a
Hmm.
really good organization. They do transportation and meals. Um, my friends were awesome. They did like a t-shirt fundraiser that first year for me, and like I think that was really hard. It was really great
Hmm.
that they did it, but I think also it's very hard to accept that help
Yes.
beginning. Like I remember a lady saying to me, "They want to help you, so don't tell them no." Like so I'd be like, "Oh, we don't need anything. We're fine," and we were fine. But um, people want to help, and so she said, "Let that be their gift to you."
Right,
So
right.
yeah, so I think
Don't
that's
turn down your blessings. Don't turn down your blessings.
a good way to look at it. So
Yes, yes. So God might be tugging their heart to give them a blessing by blessing you. It's not a tit for tat thing, but he might have plucked their heart and say, I'm testing you. I want to see if you will do what you said you would do, and I will bless you in turn. It could be health for them, it could be wealth for them, or whatever. But I really, really, really appreciate you spending time with me and the other people that's on my channel to give your story. I really appreciate it because, like you said, you don't know who it's going to touch. It might be 50 people that watch the video, and that one person, they, man, she just helped me out in so many ways. And I know you had a time schedule, so I'm gonna bid you adieu. And I really appreciate you spending time with us on the channel.
well,
So
much for having me. And if anyone, has any follow up questions or whatever, or, is diagnosed and needs some support or whatever, I'm here. So,
Y'all heard that. Like, share, and comment. Comment. You don't understand that when you comment, the algorithm picks this up and it'll take it everywhere. So comment. So if you want to get a hold of her or anything, just comment on the video and you'll get some help. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, this is wise words from a grown man. If you understand, you understand. If you don't, then man, deuces 2 times. I'll see y'all later.